Welcome to Film Fam inspired by true events. I'm Heather.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Zoe.
And we're the Grays. We're your Film Fam. For today's companion minisode to our Mean Girls episode, we are so excited to be talking to Olivia Ray, NYU Tisch student and Zoe's roommate. Hi,
Woo.
Welcome to the podcast, Olivia.
Hi, this is my first time actually being on, but I've heard all of them from Zoe's perspective.
For today's minisode, Zoe is our expert on being a homeschooled teen girl, and Olivia is an expert on being a public schooled teen girl. They're 20 now, but they're the closest we have teen girls.
I'm still a teen girl. I'm 19.
It's still a teen, so she's more of an expert, Zoe.
Well, Zoe, you've been a teen, is that right?
Yes, I was 18. I was 19 for a whole year.
Whoa, you don't say.
When is your birthday, Olivia?
I'm a Cancer. I'm July 19th.
Okay, so you still have a good ways until you're not a teen anymore, so live it up.
I guess you guys don't care when my birthday is? You don't care to ask?
We do not care, not even a little bit.
No.
Don't expect a present, because we don't know.
Oh.
Go ahead. You are a what? What's your sign?
You don't know my...
For the audience.
I'm an Aquarius, everybody.
The age of Aquarius.
Yeah, I am. My birthday is February 3rd.
Okay, so your name is Zoe Gray, and your birthday is February 3rd. What is your mother's maiden name
And your favorite pet's name?
and the last four of your social security?
Well, I'm a Leo, which I think is pretty obvious. Even though I don't really believe in astrology, I'm still super Leo. I mean, it's true.
I do not pay any attention to astrology, and yet I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah, and I think that checks out.
Yeah.
Except
That's
my
how Capricorns
understanding,
always are.
my understanding is I'm actually not a Capricorn because when these were put into place, they were assigned dates. This month. They're assigned dates and they're assigned stars that are in a certain portion of the sky. Since that happened, stars have drifted. And I think I'm actually an Aquarius by the original
They gave them
definition.
new ones, but I am not ready to let go of the identity I formed around being an Aquarius. So I'm going to call myself like an Old Testament zodiac. I'm actually also a non-believer, but an old zodiac follower because I'm still an Aquarius and I don't believe in that.
What am I going to do if I'm not a Cancer? Can I not cry anymore? Because that's my entire personality is crying because that's all that Cancers do.
The next one after Cancer is Leo.
Oh, you can still cry, but you might beat people at first and then cry second.
Actually, that does fit me. So maybe.
This is a preview of what I learned as a homeschooler. No.
Well, actually, and I've never told you this, Zoe, is when I was growing up, my mom was really into astrology. She would buy me the Leo astrology book for the whole year that told you your horoscope every single day of the year. That was one of my main presents every year for my birthday. And then when she got a computer, one of the first things she did was do like a really hardcore astrology printout for me
Oh, a printout.
with all my star signs. Yeah, on like that paper, Brian, that had like holes on the edge, both edges.
Oh, tractor feed printer paper.
Yes.
Whoa. I had one
Kevin
of
are
those.
here with blank expressions.
No,
I had
I know what that is.
A dot
I just didn't
matrix
know it had a
printer.
name.
With all the loud zzz, zzz, every line that it prints.
I had too much astrology and stuff like that and pyramids and crystals in my childhood.
I'm sorry. You had pyramids?
Yeah, yeah.
What, you don't have any pyramids?
We didn't give Zoe enough pyramids in her childhood. That's a different episode. Someday we'll do a movie about New Ageism, and then I'll talk about my whole weird New Age childhood.
You could, if you want to do one about pyramids, talk about the Mummy, the recent.
Oh, the true story that inspired The Mummy.
The Mummy, Zoe's first movie.
Mummy Returns.
Oh, The Mummy Returns.
How old was I?
We very irresponsibly brought you as an infant into a movie theater.
3 weeks old or something.
With all of
like
its
that.
loud sound right in your ears, but it knocks you right out.
I mean, that's like that's indicative of like how I, The Mummy at age 3 weeks, Jaws at age, like 8, It's
Well-
a natural progression.
Do you remember us taking you to see M. Night Shyamalan's
Lady in the Water?
Village? Oh, Lady in the Water. Was that it?
Yes,
Oh.
I remember, and I was afraid.
That
but
was
also,
the last.
I think I fell asleep maybe a little.
That was the last movie we could take you to, and after that, you stopped falling asleep. But when you were 3 weeks old until that movie, whenever that movie came out, we just took you all the time, and you'd immediately fall asleep.
You'd be under a blanket on your mom's lap, and you would just sleep through the whole movie.
And we took you to the movies like every other week.
I was gonna say that's so nice, but that actually sucks.
Having to go to the movies with a baby, you're not ready for that yet. Good, you're 19.
No, I'm okay. Thank you though for checking.
I'm going to ask questions that I found on the internet that homeschoolers have for public school kids and that public school kids have for homeschoolers. And mostly I found questions that public school kids had for homeschoolers, like, what's wrong with you? Do you even care about going to college?
I mean, I ask Zoe what's wrong with her, but I don't think that's because she's homeschooled. I think it's just because she's Zoe.
This is a facet of my personality.
Well, let's start with that one. Zoe, what's wrong with
What
you?
is wrong with you?
I am an Aquarius.
Okay, so this first question is for Olivia. Olivia, if you weren't paying attention in class, what would you be doing instead?
Oh, I was an avid doodler in class. I, however, never got called out for it. A lot of my teachers were actually very pleased with the doodles, which is an anomaly for public schools. But I'd have teachers say like, "Oh, this is beautiful, like amazing." And one time I was not doing well on a chemistry final and thought I was going to fail. So in an attempt to bribe my teacher to give me a good grade, I drew a picture on the final being like, maybe she'll give me a better grade. She didn't. I got like a B. But yeah,
And
I
you're
would
an
doodle.
artist now. You're a great artist now. I've seen a lot of your art.
She's a very good artist. She designed posters for shows. She has done like commissions for people. She's humble.
So Zoe, can you say a little bit about what your homeschooling experience like? Could you sum it up like you do for people when they ask you about it?
Oh, so homeschooling is interesting and fun because you get to pull classes from all different places. Like I said, since I moved around, I was in California, then Indiana, then in Philadelphia. When I was a teenager, it was Philadelphia, so I'll talk about that. I had a homeschooling group with other people my age where we would do stuff like Model UN, Odyssey of the Mind, like poetry and history classes. I would do like math and science online. I would take some college courses. I would have like a tutor for piano and voice. It was really a hodgepodge of different things. But the thing that was nice for me was that, I mean, I didn't really have doodling time because if I finished something, I could just right then kind of move on because I was the only person setting the pace. So I never had to like wait for other people to be done with stuff. And if something took me a little bit longer, maybe I could also just like take it at my own pace, which was really, I really enjoyed. Also because I'm into so much art stuff, like I could devote time to theater instead of, because I didn't have to spend time doing homework. All my work was homework. So then my afternoons and evenings were free to just do my own stuff.
Well, lucky you.
Next question. Were you a mathlete? If not, what was the nerdiest thing you were part of in school?
I was a part of the drama kids, which
Was
is not
that nerdy?
surprising.
Oh, I'll allow it. That's nerdy.
How about you, Zoe? What was your most nerdy school thing?
Everything. Hers was everything.
I wasn't a mathlete in high school. When I was younger, I went to a math circle for fun, and I took like for me questions classes for fun. I did a presentation about pie. I sung a song about pie that my dad wrote in front of everyone.
She did that
Right, you
recently.
I
She
did it
does that
again
every year.
recently. What is Dad's nerdiest thing that he did in high school?
Well, I was in pep band.
Yeah.
What is pep band?
It's a band that plays during sporting events. So it's the people who are guaranteed never to have a conflict during a sporting event by virtue of not playing any sports.
What instrument did you play?
I played percussion, usually drums, but sometimes, it'd be over on, a xylophone or bells or some other kind of percussion.
It's cool if it's drums. It's not cool if it's xylophone. That's the line I'm drawing.
Are you kidding me? Xylophones are so cool. I played a xylophone in elementary school.
There you go.
Also, you were in an a cappella group, right?
Yes, I was a founding member of Controlled Mayhem. Our
Oh my god, I
a cappella
never
group
knew
in
that
high
was
school.
what it was called.
Olivia, did you ever have a special guest lecturer come to your school and tell you to be nice?
Oh, I'm trying to think. We definitely had, because my school had some anti-Semitism stuff happened and racism stuff happen. So we definitely had like assemblies where a group of students had to be like, okay, everyone, put your flashlights on your phone and like put it up like if you've ever been bullied. Okay, thank you. Put it up if you've ever bullied someone. Okay, thank you. Put it up if you're an older sibling. Okay, thank you. So we had like a lot of that kind of stuff and like cross the line and all that.
Oh yeah,
fun
we know cross
stuff.
the line.
Yeah, they decided for middle schoolers to put a bunch of 8th graders in a room together with some of their parents as parent volunteers and decided to get real with us, and it was not a good idea.
Ooh, tell us more.
How real are we talking?
We talked about like suicide and like that kind of stuff. It was like very real for 8th graders. And it was tricky because like parents would be there. And so like my mom was there while I was there. And so that was awkward, definitely, as like a angsty emo 8th grader that I was.
So I feel like you have things you could say on this subject.
Yes, we did, and it was you most of the time.
Drama.
No, I mean like
Mama.
not officially, but when there was conflict, okay, so all the facilitators at my homeschool group like had like conflict resolution like protocol that they did like whenever in lieu of like there wasn't just like detention. It was like, okay, let's talk and figure stuff out. But I do think that you might have led some conflict resolution like seminars, but I don't think I was in all of them. We did do cross the line and a lot of stuff like that actually in the sex ed class that you taught me and my friends. It was stuff like, like cross the line. It was like that same kind of, it wasn't necessarily just about like sex, because
I'm sorry,
our
but
sex
there
ed
was
course
nobody else that wanted to teach it, and I had to
No,
be the
it was
one.
actually probably one of, if not the most fun class that we did there, because it was a comprehensive sex ed. So there was a lot about like gender, there was a lot about like LGBT politics,
Lucky.
and about consent. I think the cross the line stuff was a lot of stuff for like understanding consent, but that was all. If there was anyone, it was you.
I actually just remembered something as she was talking. I actually was one of those peer group people that were supposed to help with conflict resolution. In like elementary school, they had this thing called Mosaic, which there was a little song that go along with it with each of the letters. So M stands for mutual respect. Don't put me down and don't judge me. O is for open-mindedness. See me for who I am and something.
Wow, you remember
S
this
is
whole
for
thing from
self-respect.
elementary school.
A is for attitude. You got to love yourself and stay positive. I is for individuality, and C is for community. We come together in the places we live. Whoa, sing it.
Wow.
Sing it.
But I was a Mosaic leader, and it was really fun because we got to, for a week, go to like basically a summer camp and learn like conflict resolution stuff, but mostly it was a summer camp during the school year. And then we had to come back and actually apply that stuff, and that wasn't as fun. I didn't do shit. I just kind of sat there, and you're supposed to wear these tie-dye t-shirts, but my best friend at the time was like, that clashes with my outfit, because she was going through like a fashion phase, so we didn't. And so I solved one conflict, and it was a friend of mine that was like had a fake conflict about him playing tag, and like so I jokingly walked them through the conflict resolution thing, and that was the only thing I actually did.
Well, you can still apply that today because you clearly learned what all the letters stand for.
Clearly learned the letters.
There's other songs too that I somehow remember. There was a song about empathy. There was a song about
Well, hold on. Empathy. What do those letters
Sing
stand
the empathy
for?
song.
it was like basically these two people going back and forth and being like, entropy, no, empathy, not entropy. It was just other words that sounded like empathy, but every time they'd be like, no, it's empathy. I don't even remember if there was actually a point to that song.
I love that they used entropy. And this was in elementary school.
Psychopathy?
Do you guys know what entropy was?
I'm gonna be honest. Like at this moment, I don't know what it is. Maybe I should have been homeschooled.
Well, you know what empathy is, and that's what matters.
That's exactly.
All right. Olivia, what was your favorite lunch food in the cafeteria? Or like describe some types of lunch food that you would have.
Okay, so when I was at my mom's house, she would pack me a meal, which was super, super great. Shout out to my mom. When I was at my dad's house, though, as a divorced dad parent, he didn't do that. Shout out to my dad. So usually what I'd end up getting, because the lunch lines were super, super long, is we had like cafeteria lines, and then we had like a snack like thing outside of the cafeteria, and that was just like bagels and like that kind of stuff. But they had these pizza squares. They're like Sicilian slices, pizza squares. They taste like cardboard, but they were like super easy to eat, and they were pretty cheap. And so I just would get those, and have like, I don't even think it had pepperoni on it. I think it was just like basically cheese, the smallest bit of tomato, and then cardboard bread, basically. And I lived off of that. But
When I was growing up, when I was still going to public school, I went back and forth between private and public schools. I remember they had, and Brian, you can tell me if you remember these. These are the 80s foods.
Sure.
Tostadas.
Yeah.
It's like a Mexican pizza. And the Big Virginian, which was a ham
No,
sandwich.
I do not. A ham sandwich. Okay, that's what you called a ham sandwich. Okay.
That's what
With
it was
Virginia
called.
ham.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what it was
Okay.
called. Tostadas, Big Virginians. What else? And then like a bag of chips and a carton of
chips.
milk.
I call those San
Do you want to
Diegans.
know what I had for lunch?
shut up.
So sometimes we would get sushi from the farmer's market.
Fuck you.
Sometimes we'd have a little charcuterie board with like brie and prosciutto on it. But my personal favorite was when we would have peanut butter and Nutella sandwiches, 5 baby carrots, and like some strawberries.
That's what we have here. Wait, did you have Lunchables ever?
I think I've had Lunchables maybe once or twice in my life, but I don't know why I would have. Maybe from a vending machine? Do they put Lunchables in vending machines?
No.
But to this date, one of Heather's favorite lunches is Totino's pizza.
Yeah, that's like a tostada,
That's
but a
like
pizza.
a cardboard pizza.
It's a cardboard pizza. Olivia, when you were in elementary school, what did you do during recess?
Okay, so we got really into Foursquare.
Oh yeah, I love
fifth grade.
Foursquare.
And it actually caused like fights between my best friends, and they like wouldn't. I had 2 best friends, and they wouldn't talk to each other because of it, because one accused the other of cheating, or like something happened. And then I got really into Warrior Cats. It's this book series about cats, and I really
Yeah,
liked
Warrior
it.
Cats.
We had this epic clan, and I was an apprentice or a medicine cat or something. And one of my is he a friend? I don't know. This guy I knew for a really long time was like the leader, and actually my current boyfriend was the deputy. And what happened, we were not dating. We actually hated each other back then. Anyway, though.
In 5th grade.
Yes, we hated each other so much, or I hated him so much. And the leader guy decided that there wasn't enough drama in the clan, so he decided to be a big ol' sexist and basically exile all the girls. And
How
we had
dare.
this
How
like
dare
huge epic fight, and I had gotten into a fight with him also in 2nd grade, and so like I dramatically was like crying and was like, I thought you changed, but you hadn't, and I like ran away from him. So a lot of acting on my part, a lot of playing pretend, a lot of Foursquare. And on rainy days we would watch movies and like do arts and crafts and stuff, and that was nice.
Zoe, what was recess like for homeschooling?
Did you have recess?
You mean life?
I don't know, however you want to interpret it.
When I was that age, we had Dad built me a play structure castle, a 2-story castle made of wood with turrets and a rope climbing thing and like a fireman's pole and shit like that in my backyard. So there were like monkey bars and some like rooms for me to hang out in. I would just like walk down the street, and when my friends who went to school were done with school, I would go knock on their doors. I did a lot of, I called it playing imaginary, with myself, with my friends. I just read a lot. I acted out Shakespeare plays with my Polly Pockets.
Oh my God.
I think that probably like a good half to 3/4 of my day was recess. So I just did like everything. I played music and I read and I hung out with people, but it wasn't like an hour off. It was like I had 3 to 4 hours on, and then the rest of the time was recess. But
that is not where
turned
I
out
thought that
okay.
was going. I mean, it's not where it sounded like it was going. You're like, so I had this castle. So what I would do is I'd walk down the street.
No, I played in the castle
I got
too.
a castle.
I invited the children to come into my. No, it sounds weird.
It sounds so creepy.
I was
Hello, children. Hello, other children.
I, a child, invited the other children to come to my very cool castle and make mud pies.
I want to say that is exactly how I would view a homeschooled kid, as the hello, other children. Welcome to my castle, please.
Zoe, what were you in a clique? And if you were what was your role?
No, and I was the queen bee.
You can't not be in a clique. And then in our current college clique,
I don't think we have roles.
I think I'm the queen bee.
Ooh.
We don't have roles.
I'm saying that because I'm
and
not.
she's not the queen bee.
Definitely not.
What are some stereotypes about school or homeschooling that aren't true that you feel like you want to do some busting? Zoe.
Yeah, I mean, there's obvious stereotypes about homeschooling, like homeschoolers don't have very many friends, or like they're just like very weird and eccentric. I am weird and eccentric, but I always had friends, really solid friend groups. And also that like maybe homeschoolers don't know how to do tests, or I definitely had people when I came to NYU and not like most of my childhood, like most of my friends were also homeschoolers. So when I came to NYU, there were a lot of people who didn't know that I was homeschooled until I told them, and they would be like, "Wow, I like never realized."
But you're
I've had
so
people,
normal.
No, really, I've had people say like, "Wow, like she was so like well adjusted for a homeschooler."
But joke's on them, because she's not normal.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not normal. But second of all, I think part of it is like I had to learn how to talk to adults at a much younger age than I think most kids who went to school, because I had to, like I said, I got my classes from all different places. So I had to negotiate with like so many different adults. And often I was like one of the youngest people at classes where like everyone else went to that school and I was dropping in for one class or to that college or whatever. So I always had to be in around people I didn't know, meeting people for the first time and talking to adults. And I'm also good at testing. So I don't know if that's a thing with all homeschoolers. There are, like, yeah, we don't all wear shoes super often. There are certainly things about normal kids school that I don't know, or things that people learned that I inexplicably don't know that my mom will make fun of me for. But I'm like, you can't do that because you're just straight up the one who didn't teach it to me.
That's
all the
true.
responsibility lies on your shoulders.
You realize that you, I mean, probably not realizing, but you made you distinguished homeschooling from normal kids school.
Oh yeah, we would call them normal kids. Because I think we thought that we were the only ones who were weird. I'm not really sure.
Well, I don't think I'm normal. I'm going to an acting school.
She's not normal.
Thank you. Public school. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I mean, a lot of public school stereotypes are true. Like, we do dodgeball a lot. We do capture the flag a lot. I'm just thinking PE things. I mean, a lot of public school, I believe, the stereotypes are a little bit classist because public schools look down upon a lot because it's not as good as private school or charter schools. And that is actually on the education system. And speaking as a Californian, the lack of money put into the education system. My public school was actually really good, as I mentioned. And we had a lot of preppy kids actually at our public school. There are kids at public schools that will be preppy and that will flaunt their money and that will like be classist to other kids and stuff. So public school does have that, like a private school. Our public school was not known as the stoner public school, but there was like one known as like the stoner public school.
Wow.
But
The whole school.
like, not really though. Like, they were not. It just was, my school was more the academic school in the district and their school was more the artsy school in the district. And so I guess it was a rumor that a lot of them smoked. We smoked at our school too, and there definitely were people conned into getting oregano instead of like instead of actual weed. I didn't, but there definitely were people.
Wait, so when you were in high school, was pot legal in California?
I think it was legalized when I was a senior, I want to
Okay.
say. Not when I was a junior.
Wow, you guys grew up in such a different time than we, because for us it was like, this is your brain on drugs.
The devil's
Yes,
lettuce.
no, we saw those commercials. They were hilarious.
Both of you can answer, what did you like about your school system and what did you not like about, I mean, not your school system, but your school experience, either regular public school or regular homeschooling. What did you like and what did you not like?
I guess I'll go first. I wouldn't do it any differently. Homeschooling worked out really well for me, especially just because of the position that we were in. Mom was able, when I was young, to like do most of the teaching of me until I got older, and then it was a mix of a lot of different things. But like, not everyone is in that position. I really, really enjoyed the freedom, the one-on-one. Like I was able to get ahead of grade level in some subjects just because I could work however fast I wanted to and then like take time off from it. I did a little while where instead of doing math because I didn't like it as much, but I had the leeway to do this, I just started trying to write music, and now I'm a professional songwriter. So I think it worked out okay, and I still know math. But also I do you? As I think as much as most kids do. I think that it also, though, it does come from, at least the type of homeschooling I did, does come from a place of privilege. And what we were talking about with public schools, you know, like if I had gone to a public school, then all of the energy and resources from our family would have been dedicated to trying to make that school good, because we would have had a vested interest, because I would have been there. And, you know, I think there is a problem with I don't know, like financially secure families, like taking their kids out of public schools and sending them to private schools or charter schools, or homeschooling them, because then the public schools have a real like lack of care going into them from people who have like extra to give. But it's a hard decision to make. I mean, I can't say like it worked out really well for me, and I'm glad that I did it for my life trajectory. But I think it's not like without its nuances.
I mean, when you were little, that concept was not on my radar at all, although it did become on my radar once we moved to Chestnut Hill and in Philadelphia, and I saw that the public schools really could use a lot of help. And that it started to be a conflict then. But when we first started homeschooling you, I didn't even think about things like that. I think I was just like, I didn't like going to school. I didn't have a great time. Dad didn't have a great time. Both of us felt like everything we learned we learned on our own. And so we're like, let's just try this. And then we just kind of kept doing it. But yeah, I don't think that concept had occurred to me back whenever that was,
2002, yeah.
2006 or something, yeah. But if I had been thinking that way, that kind of political way, it would have been, I think, a harder choice, yeah.
The reason I didn't want to go first is because I did not have a good experience with public school, and I was trying to think of positives. I guess my family's not art oriented. I'm the only like artist in the family, so what public school did for me was give me opportunities to engage in art. I don't know how I would have found my like way into acting if it weren't for public schools. And I was lucky with my public school, it had a good drama program, so I was able to do acting and playwriting as well, which I'm continuously doing.
Good. Zoe, do you feel like you missed out on some kind of universal American teen experience by not getting to go to a big regular school where, you know, there was this kind of stuff going on?
I think I did miss things, but I don't lose sleep over it. The big stuff that I dreamed of doing, like going to prom, I got to do because I was dating someone who went to a public school. So I was lucky to get to at least do that. But, you know, I was still like kind of the outsider there. I was just her girlfriend, not like someone who actually went there or knew anybody. But I think, honestly, I don't feel like I missed out on anything that I would rather have like gone to school than been homeschooled. I mean, there were actually many points that you guys offered, like, do you want to go to school? Do you want to, like, we can find a school, a public school or a private school or like wherever, and provided me options. And I was the one who was like, I'm really happy doing this because I think, you know, I think every educational model is going to have its issues. But I'm really happy with where I ended up. And most of the things that I missed out on I had my own weird rituals and experiences that replaced them.
That's true. I used to want to find a school that would be all of that for you, but
yeah. But there wasn't.
Honestly, I think what I wanted was just college, and now I'm in college, and I'm happy with it.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Olivia. It was so great to have you and hear all about your school experiences that we are.
No, thanks for helping me relive my horrible high school years.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Like Film Fam, inspired by true events, subscribe to hear more stories that inspired our favorite films.
For photos and links from the show and other shenanigans, follow us on Instagram at FilmFamPodcast, on Twitter at FilmFam_podcast, and on Facebook at FilmFam Inspired by True Events.
If you have any questions, comments, corrections, or films whose inspiration you would like us to explore, you can email us at filmfampodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you all for listening. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.